guys, FilmCrazyAdam here to talk about Total Recall. This Total Recall, not this one. The 2012 one with Colin Farrell, not the 1991 with Arnold Schwarzenegger. However, I will talk about both of them, and I will a comparison and also kind of the similarities between the two. But we're not talking about that one. We're talking about this one. This movie, initially, I didn't know what to expect going into this. Honestly, I was just going off the trailer, and the trailer, it looked good. The trailer really did. Now, when I heard that the movie was coming out, my initial impression, like so many other people's initial impression, was basically irritation. Mine wasn't outrage, but there were people who were outraged that they were remaking this movie. I don't know what it is, but some people, a large amount of people, if a remake is announced, they are initially just pissed and angry about it and are very resentful that a movie's being remade. I don't know why. And this time I was kind of in that camp. I was like, why are they redoing Total Recall? I mean, Total Recall, the 1991, it was pure 80s cheese. Now, I know it came out in 1990, but let's be fair. It only came out in June of 1990, so just barely out of the 80s on that one, okay? So it was pure 80s cheese. And it was good for what it was. It was pure 80s cheese, and it was good for that. This movie was not that. This movie took a new look at the same story that Total Recall, that the 1991 took a look at. Now, if you don't know, both these movies are based on a short story called "We Can Remember That for You Wholesale." Now, you know what? I'll just tell you really quick. That story is about a guy named Dennis Quayle who he lives a boring life and he kind of wants something better. He goes to this company called Recall and asks them. You know, they specialize in giving people fake memories. You know, you don't have the money to go to Mars, so we'll implant a memory that you think you did go to Mars and it was great. So that's what he does. He goes there and he says, I want to have a memory where I go to Mars, and I, throw some espionage in there as well. So in the story, they try to give him the memories, but something happens. His mind freaks out because, you know what? He already has those memories because they're real. It's not a fantasy. He really has been to Mars, and he really is this government-trained assassin. Now, that's kind of that's basically the story right there. And then crazy stuff happens. The government tries to find him, and he tries to erase his memories by going back to Recall, and then things kind of escalate from there. Now, I know I just gave a very vague, very bad description of that story, but I just wanted to give you the basics. He goes to a company called Recall. They implant him with fake memories, but he already has these memories because the life he's living that he thinks he's living right now is actually a false memory in and of itself. Now, this new one, this 2012 one with Colin Farrell, where while it doesn't take place at all on Mars, it all takes place on Earth, and before I actually get into spoilers, I will just say this: it was very well. It was really good. It was a summer sci-fi movie, but very well done. I know I'm saying it's good, it's great, it's wonderful, and I don't want to build it up as something that it's not. I enjoyed it because this is what I was hoping for when I went to see Prometheus. I wanted to see a good sci-fi movie, something very science fiction. It has its own rules, but it still has a construct. It has a box. This world exists within this box, and all this fantastic stuff, all the sci-fi, all the super science, all of that you believe because it fits within the box. It didn't start doing dumb stuff that existed outside this world that was made for you, like in Prometheus, where they just started pulling shit out of their ass. No, this movie was actually well done. It's stuck within its own construct. It didn't try to be something that it wasn't, and it stuck to it. So I liked that. This movie had its plot holes, but it also had its really good points as well. This movie, it constantly moves. It never lags. The laggiest part is probably the first 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes of this movie, where we meet Colin Farrell, He works at some kind of on some kind of assembly line for a government manufacturing plant. Now, what is he assembling? He assembles basically RoboCops. There's artificial robotic policemen in the future. We don't have actual police officers. They're all robots. And he works at a government assembly line, assembling them, just like a car company. And we go through a day of his life. Now, in this world, in this future Earth, they explain that due to nuclear... Was it nuclear? Due to stuff that we, the humans, did, there's only two places on Earth that are inhabitable. And one is Great Britain, which they call the United Federation of Britain, and then Australia, which they just refer to as the colony. Now, the UFB is it's the upper crust. All the greatest people live there. They got the best food, the best science, the best medicine. And then you have the slums, which is the colony. Now, all the workers, everyone commutes to the UFB from the colony. How do they do this? Well, don't ask me how they did this, because right away, it's one of those things that you just roll with right away because it's physically impossible and would never happen. But they've dug a tunnel all the way through the planet Earth from Great Britain to Australia, and they commute by basically this gravity car, where there is a giant train, giant train car, which everyone gets into, and then it just drops and it falls through the planet. And this actually, that actually I thought was kind of cool, where it's just using gravity to pull it and drop, and it's falling through the planet. Once it gets to the core, and then it has the momentum and it keeps going, and it goes all the way up to Great Britain. And of course, equidistance, they go through the core. Basically, it's speeding up on its way down to the core and then on its way back up. It's starting to fight gravity, so it's starting to slow down as gravity takes hold. And it's just perfect how it goes from one end to the other, and it just barely gets there with the momentum that it's got. So that was cool. Now, Colin Farrell, that's what we see, like a day in his life. The first 7 minutes of this movie is just a day in his life where we see him commute to work. He works, and then he goes home to his wife. That's kind of the setup, and then it gets right into it. He goes to this place called Recall. He's like, I want to be a spy. I want to be a secret agent. And the guy's like, all right, sure. And just like in this story, he starts freaking out. And, they try to pull the cord, and as you've seen in the trailer, guys bust in, and, he kills them all. And, it was really easy to follow. It was very fast-paced. The action, I thought, at some points were, I've never said this before, but I thought the action dragged a little bit. Not dragged, but I thought I can't think of a better word than dragged, but, it just kept going on. And I know you've probably never heard of that, but it just got boring as it continued to go on, because specifically when he's running, there's a scene where he's running from his wife, where he thinks it's his wife, and then it's kind of revealed that she's really an agent by the government who was put there to monitor him. And they're running across rooftops, and I can kind of liken it to the beginning of James Bond Casino Royale, where James Bond is chasing this one guy he's chasing this one guy through construction sites, across rooftops, but this guy's doing these acrobatics. He's jumping off the walls, he's flipping, he's running. That was cool, that was interesting. But for this movie, for Total Recall, all they're doing is running for 5 minutes, 5, 6, 7 minutes. They're just constantly running. And while, they're doing jumps and they're falling through ceilings and they're jumping between buildings, it's kind of cool, but you're just doing the same thing for 5 minutes. But I don't want to rag on that. Anyway, this movie, it was good. It was a good sci-fi movie. I totally recommend it. I guess I'll compare it a little bit to the original Total Recall, or I should say the 1990 Total Recall, which, again, both of them are based off of the same short story. Yeah, just so you know, the 2012 Total Recall is not a remake of the 1990 Total Recall. It's just another retelling. It's just another interpretation of the same story. 1990 interpreted, we can remember it for you wholesale. in its own way, and then somebody else in 2012 reimagined it in their way. So, just so you know, the 2012 Total Recall is not a remake of the 1990 Total Recall. That being said, there were a few nods to the 1990 Total Recall. Like when Arnold Schwarzenegger in the first one is sneaking onto Mars and he's got that fake head and everything. There's a scene where Colin Farrell is sneaking onto, not to Mars, but he's sneaking into the UFB from the colony, because he's a wanted man at this point. And he has, it's not a head that like slices open and opens up, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I'm telling you, there's that person, like the exact same head, or very similar to that one, appeared in this, like, two people were going through security, going through the body scanner, like at the airport. And first is this woman, and I was like, "Oh my God, that can't be. Are they really going there with this, or is that going to be his disguise?" And it wasn't actually his disguise. It was actually the person behind that person. But that was a nod to the first one. There's a conversation that Colin Farrell's character has with somebody at his job, where he's like, "You know what? I wish I can go to Mars. Don't you want to go to Mars? God, I wish I can go to Mars." Another nod. There was a couple of nods. I'm not going to go into all of them, because if you haven't seen the first Total Recall because you thought it was too campy or you didn't like Arnold or whatever, you're not going to understand them. If you're just watching this review just to get an idea of the new Total Recall movie, I'll tell you this: it's well worth it. It's a good sci-fi movie. Go in, check it out. There's nothing more I can say about that. It's just a good sci-fi movie. It was well done. One of the better sci-fi movies I've seen in a long time, because you can tell that that the direction was very good, the graphics were very good, the acting was very good, the script was actually pretty good. This was a very good, like, 9 out of 10. This is a very solid, like, 7, 7.5, pushing an 8. Like, this was a good movie. And at this point, I'm just repeating myself. So you know what? Go see this movie. I recommend it. And as far as my other reviews coming out, I'm just going to stop saying, "Hey, guess what? It's coming out at the end of this week," because obviously it hasn't come out at the end of this week, and these reviews are a lot more complicated than, not complicated, but a lot more time-consuming, and now that I've got a full-time job, it makes it a lot harder to find the time to sit down and watch a movie and then write a review, because I don't know if you've tried it, and I don't know anyone else, I don't know about any of you else out there who review movies, like the full-length reviews, like I did with The Thing and Arthur, but when you sit down and go through a movie like that, it takes like a 90-minute movie just to write the script for a review. You can turn a 90-minute movie into like 3 hours easily, and then you're going through the movie, editing it piece by, and you know what? At this point, I'm just kind of I'm kind of justifying my the reason why it's not out yet. Anyway. I'm FilmCrazyAdam. I'll see you guys around. I'm not sure what the next movie coming out is, but I'll put a scorecard right after this and let you know how many of my top 11 reviews have come out, and what the next one is going to be, and yeah, how many more I have left. So anyway, this is FilmCrazyAdam, signing out.